Okay, done.
Okay, just sharing my screen. Can you see that now?
Yes.
So yeah, we obviously had quite a interesting reaction from Alex to what we presented last week, and everything that he said was very valid. And we realized that the latest journey that the latest pricing system that we have proposed to Nestle isn't really reflected in the PaaS platform at present. So we've got together very quickly and come up with what we think is a pretty good solution to that. I briefed Sophia on what I thought that might be late last week, and then this week I've worked with Steve and Glyn to confirm that we're happy with that way forward, which I've now shared with Hitachi via this Miro board, or do we say Miro? What do you say in Hitachi?
I say Miro.
Yeah, me too. Miro.
Okay, let's go with Miro then. So yeah, we've mapped two very slightly different journeys. In the same way that with those two journeys for the box configurator, where there's either a new product or choosing one from an existing list. Basically, for the pricing, if it's an existing box, then it's very simple. That's already in place, and it will follow a simpler journey. And if it's a new one, then it's slightly more complicated. But I'll take you through each of those. So the starting point is that for this journey it's for customer who we've been through a lengthy contract negotiation set up with, and as part of that, a price matrix has been agreed. So we're not expecting this to be a quick, easy sale that somebody just signs up to without knowing the full implications of what things are going to cost. So in the near future, for me, it seems very likely that this is going to be the way that Nestle and Mondelez are going to be working, and it'll be, unless they have a really negative reaction to what we're proposing, it might be some time until we need to go down the quotation route that we've gone down at present. But it's really nice to have that ready in the background to show other people who might be more interested in that way of doing it. So given that there will be a pricing matrix like is shown in the bottom of this Miro board, we basically need a journey to get the users to fill in enough information for Hitachi to process which box in the matrix it would fit into, and then to offer some extra value sales. So the box is the base price, figured out based on the overall agreement that we've got with the customer. So it would assume things like MOQ and lead times are standard for what's agreed in the contract. And then it's actually pretty simple to work out where a particular box would fit on that matrix. And then the next stage, once you've done that, is to offer the chance to add more value, like I say. So that could be running at a faster lead time. It could be a lower minimum order quantity. It could be adding a manual fill process, like adding a leaflet into the box. There's a few different ways that we can hopefully add more value and add more revenue for ourselves. So to go through that journey, we'll look at the pink one first, which is the new line code. So this is where basically somebody within Nestle has identified a commercial opportunity that will require a new piece of packaging that's not been done before. And that might mean a whole new box, or it might just mean a new piece of artwork on a box. So it's just anything that's not actually already been exactly made previously. So the sales and marketing team. So I think we're all agreed in the DS Smith side of things that instead of calling it brand manager, we'd like to call it sales and marketing team. I think that reflects what Wouter said, and certainly including this pricing side of things, that seems to make more sense as well. So they have to pull together a certain amount of data, which they kind of have to know anyway for them to understand the opportunity and if it's worth them going forward with. So that would be things like number of cases, what the case format is, what the case style is to a certain extent, but hopefully we can influence that during the box configurator from our range of boxes. And then if they're confident, which we hope most people will be, because it's going to be a lovely, simple experience, they can mess around with this on the Nano platform and very quickly and easily arrive at a, so that's very small, isn't it? Just increase the size that a little bit. Arrive at a price on the Nano platform, the PAS platform. So it uses your case configurator, going through the same journey as that, which will almost by definition mean that you have all the information that you need. We might need to add a couple more variables in there, but I think you've got everything. So at the same point that it outputs a suggested case design, it would also say what that case would cost at that, the quantity that they've put in. During that process, they also have to do things like put in if it's a mixed pack and how many variables. So that box should be extremely well defined, which means that we can give a very accurate price at that point. But if they don't feel that comfortable, then we propose offering that they can follow their existing process with DS Smith, which would be where maybe internally, so it's following their existing internal processes, whereby the sales and marketing person we think would probably go to a pack tech, which is the person that designs a pack technologist, or somebody like Richard Pinkerton or somebody in Richard Pinkerton's team to get together a quote. So they would have to give Richard or a pack tech those same level of information that we need, and it's just really whether they're slightly nervous and they want to do it through their existing processes, or if they're happy to do it themselves. If they choose to go their existing processes, then it would basically mean that Richard Pinkerton or one of his team or a pack tech uses the Nano platform on their behalf. Or possibly if they're even nervous of it, which hopefully, given there'll be people we'll be working with quite closely, won't be the case, but there should also be the option that they could call one of us up, and we could take them through that process, putting in the data as required that they give to us. But I'm hoping that'll be a very rare occurrence. So once all that data is in and they've been through the case configurator bit that you're building, there should, one of the outputs should be showing where that box would sit on this matrix, and also saying what the additional cost would be for things like the mixed price option, sorry, the mixed pack options that they've chosen, and if they've chosen an order quantity that's lower than the MOQ, then how that would affect the price, that sort of thing. What then needs to happen is a new screen, which is where it would say, okay, that's your base price. I mean, I suppose it could be on the same screen, actually. It doesn't necessarily need to be a new one, but it says that's your base price, and to do things like reduce the MOQ to this much, or to receive it in 48 hours instead of your service agreement of 72 hours, then it will be this much extra per box. And to insert a flyer would be this much extra per box, and just come up with a standard set of kind of a rate card of options that we can offer, which are then probably also in the background matrix based. So it would know that if it's a really big complex box, then it might be more money to offer a quicker turnaround than if it's a small box, or if it's a big order, then again a quick turnaround is going to be more expensive than a small turnaround. But initially that could probably just be that will just be mocked up to be you know, here's a list of options and this is how much extra per box there would be. And then much like your case configurator, well, it basically is your case configurator. They have the option of save, share, or progress. So save it to go back and look at it again in the platform later. Share with other users, either within the platform or by emailing a PDF. And progress, which is where it then says, yeah, I want to go ahead with this option. So if they say progress, then we need another stage where DS Smith have the chance to finalize the design, make sure that everything is ready for production before they can actually place the order. So this is an important step that we needed to understand between us internally. there's obviously some nervousness that the platform is going to be advanced enough to really nail down the box design exactly right, and to make sure that the robots get programmed correctly based on the data input and everything. So we definitely at this point need to add a stage to allow for humans to come in and check everything and upload everything that the production recipe needs into the platform. So as part of your readiness for each order, for whether it's a green light, amber or red light, you have a list of kind of an expanded bill of materials, which includes things like artwork, it includes robot programming, to make sure that everything's in place to run the order. And that's basically, this is the stage where we do that background work to make sure all of those are there, and we upload it to the platform so that the platform knows everything and the robots know everything they need to do to be able to make it. And once we've confirmed that we've done that stage, then platform would notify Nestle that they're now able to raise an order against that, or progress that order, to start the production. So at this point, at the progress point, they know all the prices. It's unlikely that this would change the pricing. The whole point is that we want to keep the pricing nice and simple. So this is really just to check that there's been no mistakes in there. I guess we do need to have the option at that point to say, sorry, we made a small mistake on the pricing, it's going to be this price instead. But hopefully that's never going to happen, because otherwise that kind of undermines the contract that we've drawn up with them.
Okay.
And then once we've notified them, they can then go in and raise the production order, and then they use the Nano platform to manage the order and production as you've already mapped out.
Okay.
And the journey for the existing line is basically exactly the same, except that instead of going through the case configurator, they would just choose from the list of cases that already exist. But once they've chosen that, it then takes them into the commercial configurator stage, where it still says, you know, do you want it faster? Do you want it smaller numbers? Do you want all these upsells, extra value?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So how does that sound?
Okay, so I have one generic question, let's say. So we have two different journeys. We have the production request journey, and then we have the box configurator journey. And it seems to me that if it's a new line code or a new SKU, a new product, we need to consider that as box configurator journey and not production request journey. So I think we can start with the production request journey, because I guess it's the simpler one and the one that is already more mature, let's say. So it's the blue sticky notes, right? So if Nestle already has a SKU and they just want to produce new boxes of a SKU that already exists. In that case, the journey that we already have, we would need to change the quotation part to have the prices already there with this matrix, right? So let me just look at my notes here. And can I share my screen?
Yeah, I was just thinking,
sorry, Rich.
let's shift over to yours and you talk us through where you're thinking this change happens.
Yes. Okay. So I did a screenshot of your diagram to here. So here it's not brand manager, it will be sales and marketing manager or team.
Yeah. Yeah, if we can go with team rather than a individual, that I think that makes more sense. But I realize that complicates your personas.
Okay. No, I think it's okay. No worries. Okay, so I put here these first steps as the box configurator journey happening on the design menu on the top.
Yep.
The other
Agree,
ones will, sorry?
Sorry, I was just saying that. Agree, yeah, that's how I see it too.
Okay. then we have the other steps that are on the production request journey that we already defined, but we need to make some changes. So what I'm seeing is that the sales and marketing team will create a production request. And I think we can leave the screen as it is, because from a sales and marketing team perspective, they would just need to select the SKU that they want to produce and add the number of boxes that they want to produce, and then we would go to the third party contractor manager, and he will be the one in charge of checking the prices and increasing the number of boxes to have more reduced costs and so on. So what I'm seeing is, so the sales and marketing team will start this new journey, the production request journey, as we have now. And then when the third party contractor manager is notified about that production request, this is where we need to make those changes. So here,
can I comment on that quickly?
yes,
I think that the boxes finish and start in a slightly different place. So I would say that the sales and marketing team box extends across to just after the save, share and progress. And it's when they progress it, that's when it goes to third party contract manager.
Okay. Yeah, and that's a good point, because here I wanted to understand exactly what this commercial configurator is, because what I understood is that this is part of the box configurator journey, where we have the recommendations from the platform saying if you increase the number of boxes, you will reduce costs and so on. So those kind of recommendations. Is that it, or?
Yeah. So we'll have some of that. It's mainly to offer the options for things like lower MOQ, faster lead times, adding inserts. So it's probably be just a simple menu of options saying how much each one would add to the box price if you wanted to go ahead with it.
Okay. And do you think that this is something for the sales and marketing team, not
Yes.
for the third party contractor manager? Okay. One more question, Rich. Do you have any page where you have all of those topics related to the commercial configurator?
No, I haven't written them down so far, but we can quite quickly put together a list of what they would be, as long as that's a draft list that we can edit going forward. I'm sure it would be.
Sure. Yes. It's just a draft, but it's just to understand what kind of data do we need to have there.
Yeah.
But we can discuss this after. Okay. Okay. So one more question here on the design finalization. This would happen only if the journey would start here, only if it's a new SKU, right? Because if it's an existing one, do you think that DS Meet needs to step in? Or they could reuse the previous artwork?
Yeah, they could reuse the previous box design. Yeah, I suppose all of those things would exist already, wouldn't they? It's just to double check that everything is there. So it's maybe there's an opportunity for a designer to see if there's any improvements that could be made at that point as well.
Okay. So at this point, even
But
if
it's a good
it's
question. I'm not saying for sure that is needed for an existing SKU. You might be right. It might just be for new ones. But at this point, while we still kind of figuring out exactly what that means, I think we should probably have that.
Okay.
That we double check every order just to make sure that nothing's missing and it can't be improved.
Okay, so all the orders needs to pass first through DS Meets before it goes to the co-packer.
Yes, because under this fixed pricing, The co-packer just runs the nano line with material that we supply and with the product that the FMCG supplies at a fixed price. So they, I mean, it has to obviously fit into their schedule though. That is, so I guess we've not considered how that would happen. So we can talk about what we can control in terms of our lead time to get the product to the co-packer. But you're right, there does maybe need to be a stage where it looks at the co-packing schedule and figures out what's possible. And that's not entirely obvious how that would happen, unless they have open, something like GXO and Nestle probably would be willing to share their production schedule so that Nestle can say, this is higher priority, please slot it in ahead of this. Okay, but still DSMID would need to, let's say, approve all the orders before going to production, to the plant, to the co-packer. We definitely need to prove it. Well, I think we definitely need to prove for new ones and probably need to approve it for existing ones before the order gets properly placed. Okay. But maybe in parallel, there does need to be the option to check capacity, because there's no point if the co-packer says, no, I'm totally full for the next 6 months, I can't do this, even if you are desperate to, then there's no point in progressing that, is there? Okay, that's a good point. Okay, so let me quickly share here this journey that I created, because here I'm already putting the plant manager in place. But let's see. So let's start from the beginning. And this is pretty much the same as you have, Rich, is just to, here I put all the steps, thinking already on the screens that we will need for the journey. Okay. So here, sales and marketing team. Okay, so sales and marketing team will create a production request, and they will need to pass through the commercial configurator screen, let's say. So this will happen here. If it's a new SKU, probably the journey needs to start on the box configurator journey, meaning in the design menu. So yep, let's not focus on that part first. So sorry, I'm just trying to understand where this will happen. So production request created. Okay, if it's not a new SKU, they will do this. So the sales and marketing team will create a production request for an existing SKU. Then they will go to the commercial configurator screen with the topics that we need to think about. Then they will send the request to the third-party contractor manager that will have access to the price matrix will be something that will be for the sales and marketing team or for the third-party contractor manager. Everyone. We want it to be as transparent as possible, with the idea that the more people can understand it, then the easier it is for them to say yes and to take more opportunities. So we want the sales and marketing people to have as good an understanding as possible. Okay, but before that, when the sales and marketing team are creating the production request, they already have access to the price matrix and potentially. So there needs to be somewhere that the pricing matrix can be viewed whenever, maybe not even as part of this, maybe in the just resources section, it needs to have a copy of contract and of pricing matrix in that. And the price matrix comes before the commercial configurator. The commercial configurator is what adds on extra detail to the base price that you see in the price matrix. Okay. Okay.
because they will make some options here accordingly to what they saw on the price matrix.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Price matrix gives a nice simple base price, and then the commercial configurator nails down the final price based on all the options they want.
Right. Okay. So this commercial configurator screen would be the final step for the sales and marketing team while creating a production request.
Exactly. They choose the options they want, and then they have the choice to save, share, or progress, or however.
Right. Okay. If they want to progress, that would be sending this production request to the third-party contractor manager, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And that also triggers. Yeah. Okay. I wonder if they then need a layer of approval before that comes to DS Smith for us to start doing the design finalization. Because if third-party contract manager for any reason says no, I think certainly for who we're talking to at present at Nestle, they would probably like to have a chance to veto something at that point before it comes to us to be finalized.
Okay, but about that capacity checking from the plant manager or the co-packer.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. Yeah, so maybe the progress triggers it going to third-party contract manager to have a look at capacity with co-packer.
Exactly.
And then only once they've both agreed does it progress to DS Smith design finalization.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, great. Okay, good solution.
Okay. Okay, one more question. So here on this matrix, we have the size of box with these sizes of box. This is something that PaaS platform will understand with the dimensions of the box, or?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Those will be defined what each of those mean.
Okay.
I'm conscious that I do need also to build in a merchandising unit as a separate option, because even a small merchandising unit uses a hell of a lot more card than a small SRP. So we might need to just replicate that same table, just with a different set of prices for merchandising unit cassettes.
For you mean for the different types of boxes?
No, I think we're happy that there's.
For example, sorry to interrupt you, Rich, but
Yeah.
for example, if we are talking about sorry, now I can't remember the types of boxes that we have on the PPT of Nano, but we have the SRP, we have the tray something, so we have all of those kinds of
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Of boxes.
So yes, yeah. So yeah, your question made perfect sense. It's just I'm not sure yet if we just break it down into all cases at the same price, because most of the Nano cost is not in the actual amount of cardboard that you use, it's in running the machine and the time to do that, which is more about the number of picks and the size of the box than it is about how much cardboard's used. But certainly for merchandising units, that will be a factor. So that's why I'm saying we might need a duplicate of this with higher prices for merchandising unit cassettes. And I'm not, maybe we need to think about, because if a tray uses so much less material than an SRP, maybe that does need to be reflected in the pricing, but that's.
Okay. But I'm just thinking that from a UI perspective, that wouldn't be a problem, because that would be something in the backend. Since at this point we already know what SKU we are talking about, we would know the type of box, so we would present the prices just for that type of box. In the backend, we would need to have the different prices for the different types of boxes, but not from a front-end perspective.
Great.
Okay, so okay, so for each SKU, need to define the number of boxes. So the third-party contractor manager would have access to the price matrix as well, and
Yeah.
he would make he would define the number of boxes accordingly to the matrix, to the price matrix.
Yeah.
Define the number of boxes. Okay. Okay, after this pass will determine the date that the SKUs will be ready to ship, the thing that you said. So something like your service level agreement says that your nano components will be ready by the date X. If you need those components earlier, here we need to say, please contact your plant manager or pay an extra.
Yeah, but I think you've already kind of done that in the commercial configurator. That exact text, that's exactly the kind of thing that would be in the commercial configurator.
Okay. Okay, so I am just thinking what would be the difference between the journey of the sales and marketing team and the third-party contractor manager journey, because since here at this stage, the sales and marketing team are already defining the number of boxes, the dates, and so on. What would be the purpose of the third-party contractor manager?
Yeah,
Is just to contact the plant manager?
So sales and marketing team definitely need all that so they can understand if the opportunity is worth proceeding with. So they definitely have to get the full pricing, including the details from the commercial configurator. Yeah, Richard Pinkerton needs to have some authority to say no, I guess. So yeah, I think that where it says send the request to third-party contract manager, that's right. But then that's not to do price fix matrix, or you've already done the price fix matrix bit as well. You've defined the number of boxes. I think you've done all of those. Apart from see the dates available, so maybe it's the contract manager who sees the dates available, and so the only stage for the contract manager is to look at the capacity of the co-packer along with the starting date requirements, and when the material, we're saying material from DS Smith could arrive, and he at that point can say, well, there's no point paying extra to have it quicker because the co-packer can't pack it for another week anyway.
Okay, so that would be something that the third-party contractor manager would do to see if they have the materials available and so on.
And yeah, okay, yeah, because they also have to run their supply chain to make sure that their products are in the co-packer. It's up to us to make sure that our materials are at the co-packer in time, but yeah, they need to know if the co-packer has capacity and if they can get their product there on time.
Okay, so my question is, sorry to come up with these problems, but my question is, if the third-party contractor manager would be the one to see the dates available and to check the plant manager capacity, what's the point of having this part in this early stage and for the sales and marketing team, because
they might have a really urgent job that they can only accept if it's ready within 3 days. Like a retailer turns up and says, our suppliers let us down, but you can come and fill this space on our shelves if it's ready by that time. So they need to know the price to do that. And then they progress that to Richard Pinkerton, who then confirms if that's going to be possible or not, in conjunction with the co-packer. And then he works with the co-packer to put it into the production schedule where it needs to go and to make sure that their own product is there on time.
Okay, so here from the sales and marketing team perspective, probably we won't say please contact your plant manager. We would say please check the extra prices available or something.
Yeah, I think
Oops.
in one of my messages to you, I put down some wording that I quite liked for that, which is maybe
Okay.
slightly better, but
Okay, I'll check that then. Okay, and then the third-party contractor manager would check the plant manager availability. Capacity, sorry.
Yep.
Capacity. And then I have here this. So is the proposed dates okay? If yes, so if the, sorry, this needs to be, does the plant manager have capacity? If yes, then he would upload the PPI and send it to the co-packer. So here is the place that we need to have this analyzer from DS Meets, right? So if the third-party contractor manager sees that the plant manager has capacity, he would need to send the order to DS Meet so DS Meet can approve it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or do you think that this needs to happen before the third-party contractor manager enters the stage?
No, I think there definitely
No.
needs to be a first round of conversation where they just confirm that the capacity is there to make it when it needs to be made.
Okay. Okay, so here we would say that this approve from DS Meet would happen here. Right, and then if everything is okay, then the third-party contractor manager would send the artwork along with the PPI to the co-packer.
Yeah, plus at some point the Comau have to send the robot packing instructions. Sorry, that's not at that point. Yeah, no, that's I guess that's later on down the line. That's just part of the expanded bill of materials that the robot programming is complete.
Okay, but I know that we have that conversation open to have the supply chain controller, something, the feature that we have. I know this is something that we need to have on the PaaS platform, but I believe this is for the MVP only, right?
Sorry, can you ask the question again?
The part of bill of materials and supply chain. We have this supply chain control tower. Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah.
So that feature is only for the MVP, right? To be incorporated within the PaaS platform only for MVP.
Yes, but even ignoring the control tower, which is adding intelligence to it, there will still be a bill of materials that is cross-checked against, and it's that decides if it's green, yellow, or red. The control tower is just there to help bring data in to say when it could be possible.
Okay, but the bill of materials with the status, the 3 different colors, that is something that we need to present here on the PaaS platform?
Absolutely, yeah. There's a key part of it that the production schedule shows what can be made, that everything.
But from a plant manager perspective or also from a brand perspective?
The brand manager doesn't need to see that. That is very much that the plant manager sees the detail of it, and Nestle need the option to see an overview to know that everything's going okay, or possibly to have a look at the detail of it if they're really hands-on.
Okay. Okay, so here when he's when he's sending the PPI and the artwork to the co-packer, he needs to have some visibility about the bill of materials as well.
yeah, their bill of materials, the things that they control. And then it's up to us to make sure that all the nano components and the robot programming is done.
Okay. But about the nano components, does the brand need to know something about that, or it's just up to us, DS Meet, to cover that part?
Yeah, it's up to us, but
Okay.
that red, amber, green system should show if we've messed up and it's not going to be ready to produce it, which hopefully is never going to be the case, but undoubtedly sometimes will be.
Okay.
And so just your box about check the plant manager capacity, that it might be worth a little note there saying that's either by contacting them or by looking at the production schedule if shared. Because if Richard Pinkerton can look at a production schedule and see that there's massive gaps in it, then he can probably make a quick assessment on that himself.
Okay. Okay. So here at this point, we are saying that DS Meet said that everything was okay with the artwork, and the third-party contractor manager can see the bill of materials with the red, amber, and green system colors, adds the PPI, and then creates the planned order to send to the plant manager. Assuming that the plant manager has capacity. So we are on that journey. If the plant manager has capacity.
I was just thinking about that new box about the bill of materials and where that actually sits. Is that actually part of the journey?
Not yet.
You've got a box there that says continue with the journey. Within production, you have got that red, amber, green. So maybe we're repeating it if we put it there.
Sorry, we are repeating it because I think we have this system color only for the plant manager perspective, but let me confirm.
Hopefully anybody that looks at the production schedule would see red, amber, green, wouldn't they?
Okay, so what you are saying is that after he creates a planned order, he would be able to see if that planned order is red, amber, or green. Is that it?
Yeah, they don't need, before the planned order, you don't need to know that all the materials are there or not, because it will be red, won't it?
Okay. Okay, yeah. So then I think we already have this on the mockups.
Yeah, great.
But I will confirm. Okay, I will confirm, but I think we already have this. Okay, so then continue with the journey that we already have. So the plant manager would be notified about the planned order, and then the brand would need to create a process order for the following week. Yep. Okay. Okay, so the other use case is if the plant manager does not have capacity to that. So if he doesn't have capacity, the third-party contractor manager would need to contact them, defines the dates that they want for the production. Then the plant manager, and this would be something that would happen from the plant manager perspective. So the plant manager would need to analyze the production plan and understand if he could have this planned order in their production schedule. If yes, then the plant manager would say, okay, go ahead, send me the planned order. If not, the plant manager will need to reply to the brand saying that it's not possible. And here at this point, what the brand would do. So they can select a different co-packer, or they just need to accept the new dates from the plant manager.
It would trigger a conversation where they reanalyze the priorities of production. So there might be some other production that they've got in there that is lower priority that they can say, well, just do that 2 weeks later and focus on this one instead.
Okay. And there is no chance that the brand can select a different co-packer?
Not in the initial iteration between
Okay.
Nestle and GXO.
Okay. So here
But I mean,
comes...
yes, maybe you could put it as a two-way conversation about priorities and dates, and if not possible, then opportunity to offer job to different co-packer if they exist.
Okay. So I think that's pretty much it. Anyway, I will put this in an organized way, and I will send it to you so you can validate it in the end. So then the other use case that we have here, if it's a new SKU. So if it's a new SKU, then the production request cannot start because they will need to create this new SKU through the box modeling journey, through the design menu.
Sorry, say that again.
If it's a new SKU, they wouldn't be able to create the production request, because if it's a new SKU, they would need to start on the design menu by creating a new project, a new design project.
Yeah, they have to go through the
because I actually I
go
wrote...
through. Yeah, that's right. Your answer there is it needs to start in the design menu.
Okay.
Box configurator. So maybe rather than design, it's called new product or something like that to get people to realize that that's where they go to add something new to it. Or in the list of products that they've got, there should be another box that says add new, create new product that triggers the box configurator journey.
Okay, sure. Yes, even here on the production request journey, we can have a button, a call to action for the box configurator journey.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so I think we are in a good way for the production request journey. We only have more 8 minutes, but here I have the box configurator screen. We can start, and then I can send this journey to you, and you can check it offline, Rich. Or we can schedule another meeting for this one, because this is a big one.
Yeah.
As you can see.
So you've obviously had huge amount of input from Robin and Rich and various other people. Are you... I'm nervous from the outside that this is going to add so much detail and complexity that people aren't going to be able to use it. Are you confident that this is still a user that a non-technical person can go through?
Yeah, I think so. Because what I did was to understand what were the steps on Iris, and this is the analysis from Iris. So on Iris, we have all of these different steps with lots of technical points that probably we don't need on PaaS platform. But what I did was to try to understand what were the most relevant topics for the PaaS platform.
Right.
And here we have lots of sticky notes, but it's like it's very detailed. So in the end, the mockup won't be very complex, you know.
Okay.
Because, for example, here I'm just putting sticky notes for all the questions that I have, and in the mockups it will be much simpler. But just an overall view. So what I have here is the product details, understanding primary product details, understanding what the primary product is, if it's an existing one or if it's a new one. Then
what does multi-pack mean in this terminology? Is that mixed pack?
Yeah, mixed pack. Do you think it's better if we call it mixed pack?
Certainly for me as a layperson it is, but if that's what Robin is referring to it as, then we need to talk about that a bit more.
Yeah, I can ask Robin's opinion on that. I think on the Iris we use the multi-pack words, but we can discuss that point. But yes, here the point is to understand if the what is the primary product, if it's a new one or an existing one.
Yeah.
If we are talking about a mixed pack or not. So that would be the first question. So then we could understand what were the primary products for that mixed pack. Then if it's an existing product, we just need to select the primary products, and the PaaS platform would have all these data in the backend, like the brand owner, company, product category, variant, consumer unit formats, and any more data that we consider valuable. Then we could have,
very quickly on that.
Yes.
Mixed packs could contain the same products just with different variants, as in they're basically exactly the same things, just with a different flavor inside of it, or they could be totally different primaries. Like you could have a spray gun next to a box of something in the same merchandising unit cassette. So maybe there's just a first stage to say if it's just mixed pack of different variants or mixed pack of different primary product types. That might then just simplify the journey. If they're all just different variants, then that's a lot easier than specifying a load of different products.
Okay, because what I was thinking was to, so here, when you are selecting the primary products, you would be able to select different ones or different variants. Because and actually this is a question. So if we have a primary product with two different variants, that means that they are two different primary products or just one primary product with two variants?
It means that they're two different products, but they are just different variants. So it's a lot easier for us to handle than if they're two totally different products.
Okay, got it. Okay, and then we would have a list with the existing SKUs for the selected primary products.
Yeah, so you can see what has already been done. So you could maybe just base your design on an existing one. Is that what you're thinking about?
Yeah, yes, exactly. Then some context about the retailer or retailers.
Yeah,
then here on the project details, we would ask if it's a box change or artwork change only, because he already checked the existing SKUs, so he can make a decision here. If it's a box change, he would need to go through many steps. If it's just artwork change, would be less steps.
Brilliant.
So here we would enter on the package details with some options here. So
yeah, that's all fine. Yep, skip the next bit. That looks good.
Okay, then here we have the pallets and shipping info that I am not sure if we would need to have it here. This is a question. What do you think?
Seems like a good place to put it. We will potentially need that, but maybe that should be a screen that we can turn off. If it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then we have the price matrix.
Yep.
At this point. And then this is an analyzer from a marketing perspective, and this could be optional as well. And here are some questions that I took from Iris, and I think those can be useful for our persona. And these are just some questions to check if the box and the artwork that they uploaded are good from a marketing perspective.
Great, and it makes sense to do that there rather than at the point where they're uploading it.
Yeah.
So they go back to. Okay, fine. Yeah.
Yes. And then I have these 3 points here that I still need to think better about the shelf utilization and about this tool. I'm not sure if you know this, Rich.
I had a look at it after you sent the link. Yeah, it looks great.
Yes, so we need to understand if we want to do this integration or not, but let me think better about this. Also, in the end, I was thinking that we could give reports about with metrics around costs, sustainability, and also shelf utilization accordingly to these questions.
Yeah.
And in the end, as we already talked, so save, share, and submit new SKU. After they submit new SKU, this approve needs to happen outside of the platform, I'm assuming. I'm not sure how this process is happening, but let's assume that this will happen outside the platform. And after the SKU is approved, then they could create a production request.
Yep, sounds good. So I just question, I love it. I just ask, where does the new commercial configurator fit into that? Hopefully you can very easily just slot it in from the work that we did earlier today.
Yes, and place it near to the price matrix.
Yeah.
After the price matrix. Okay.
That probably makes sense, yeah.
Okay, can you send me some of the data that we want to have on the commercial configurator after, please?
Yeah, it would just be a checklist of things like faster, shorter lead time, lower MOQ, manual operations such as inserting flyer. There'll be a few others, but if you just come up with a list of things like that, then we can tweak exactly what they are.
Okay, sure. I will add those and then we can discuss more about them. Okay, and I think that's it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for reacting so quickly to this potentially, pitfall that we found ourselves in on Friday. But I'm very happy that you've found a good way forward. So thank you for all that extra effort that you put in on that.
Sure. Okay. Once I have everything organized, I will send you through email to all of you.
Magic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks again.
Thank you, Rich. That was like watching artists painting. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Cheers, Fraser.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Tsepesh.
Bye.
Bye.